Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Welcome to a special edition of the Monday Money Tip Podcast. Megan Hibbert here, recording from my home office since, well, we're all still in quarantine. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. And as one of your co-hosts here of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, we wanted to make sure we keep each of you informed as to what's going on with the economy, the CARES Act, and all things relating to your finances and COVID-19. So we've done multiple things to help. The first thing you might have heard us talk about, we created a website dedicated entirely to managing your finances during this pandemic. Just go to iwasbrokenowimnot.com and click on the COVID-19 link at the very top of the page. Here you can find videos, podcast episodes, free ebook, PDF downloads, and more. With all this happening, we've also had to move a couple of our previously recorded podcast episodes so we could focus solely on this new normal we're all trying to manage. So the episode that you're about to listen to was actually scheduled to release on March 30th, which you'll hear Joe talk about because it's the day before his birthday. But this content was so helpful that we wanted to make sure to release it. So with that, here is the new episode 94 of the Monday Money Tip Podcast. I hope you enjoy it.
Well, welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. My name is Joe Sangle, one of the co-hosts of this great podcast, Self-Proclaimed. We're fired up that you're with us on this Monday morning. And I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Megan Hibbert. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Are you fired up?
Always.
I'm fired up. It is the end of March. And
That's crazy.
You know what tomorrow is?
April Fool's Day.
My birthday!
Oh, yes. Well, one more day.
No, my
and then-
birthday.
and then
I hope
yes.
it's not April Fool's Day.
You know, it's funny. We just were on a conference call this morning.
I'm going to be 29 again.
I
It's going to be
acknowledged
amazing.
your birthday. I was
I'm
the
going to
only
be 29
one.
years old again. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I heard a guy, he wrote a song with a lyric, and this is the lyric that says, I thought getting old would take longer than this. I think it's great. And I did too, but it happened pretty fast. And today we're going to talk about, since it is April Fool's Day coming up in a couple days.
Yes.
What are we going to talk about?
So we're talking about foolish things people do with money. So our featured question is, it's almost April Fool's, April 1st. So we decided we're going to talk about foolish things people do with money and, the key part, provide some tips to help you avoid them.
Right, which isn't even a question. We're just going to tell you what we're talking about today. I'm fired up. So our topic introduction is foolish things people do with money. We don't want you to do them. So we're going to provide tips to help you avoid them so that you're not the butt of the April Fool's Day joke. Isn't that awesome?
Yep.
So let's tell everybody one more time about the featured resource for March for the
Yes.
Monday Money Tip Podcast.
This month's featured resource is the Savings Challenge, so chances are pretty high that you're wasting some money each and every month. You probably already know it and you probably feel it. So let's take care of it this month, and the Savings Challenge will show you ways to save money so you can better fund your dreams. If you want to save money in your budget and put more in your dreams pocket, sign up today. Just go to iwbnin.com/savings-challenge. It's only $14, and this is your last chance to sign up. So the end of March, so just 2 days, we're going to be closing the Savings Challenge, so make sure to jump in if you're interested in saving $1,000 or more in your budget.
That's awesome. And I am fired up to be able to offer that savings challenge. We find that people save at least $1,000 in their annual budget by taking that, and it's always exciting to hear about those success stories.
Okay, our success story today comes from Ruth Marie, and she said, my husband and I took your budget class, so they went to the Financial Learning Experience, which is one of the classes that you do. We travel to churches. We can include a link so you can learn about that if you want, and also see our team live so you can see where Joe's going to be if you want to get fired up. So you came to our church in Maryland. My husband was not a believer in budgeting, while me, being a banker, I've always been pretty disciplined with my finances. Today, 9 months after your class, my husband has paid off his car and credit cards, total of $27,000. He now has zero debt. This was due to him applying your spreadsheet and budgeting tools he learned from your class. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your program works, and since then, we have recommended you to our children and friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this is a great success story. So this is amazing. So what I see is that Ruth Marie and her husband were not on the same page. She's naturally gifted in this money area, this accounting area, and she's always been disciplined, pretty disciplined. So she admits there's been maybe a couple jumps off the ladder maybe.
Well, no one's perfect.
But watch this. When vision happened and they got on the same page. So here's what I see. They sat together in a class. So think about that. They learned together from an instructor, a teacher. And so that's the power of taking classes, the power of reading a book together, the power of, hey, instead of let's just try to figure this out ourselves, which obviously is not working the way we want it to, hey, why don't we work together learning from someone who's been there, got the t-shirt, and is willing to share what they had worked for them. And that's why books, conferences, classes, online resources work. That's why we go to college, is we're learning from people who have the knowledge. And instead of focusing on each other, which can cause us to blame each other, it allows us to get focused on this third party who's providing information. We can run it through the filter together about whether that works for us, what modifications we need to make it for us, and then look at the progress that took place. 9 months after the class, her husband's paid off his car, credit card's gone, 27 grand, he has no debt. This was due to him applying the spreadsheet, and she is fired up, and now they're recommending it to others. Isn't that awesome?
It is awesome.
Hey, we want to hear your success story. You can email us or share it on social media, and who knows, we may be sharing your story on the podcast.
Yep. All right. So for our featured question for today, it's more of just a statement, but it's almost April 1st. It's April Fool's Day. So we decided we're going to talk about some foolish things people do with money and provide some tips to help you avoid them. So, you ready?
Yeah.
Foolish tip number 1. Or foolish,
it's not the tip. We're going to talk about the foolish number 1. Do you like it?
Well, foolish number 1, I feel like we were missing a word, but foolish thing people do. Foolish things people do, number 1.
She's modifying it on the fly, y'all.
That's never good. All right. So using home equity to pay off credit card debts.
Yeah. We've seen people do that a lot, haven't we?
Yes.
So think about what's really happening when somebody uses home equity to pay off their credit card debts. They've been paying off their home. Hopefully it's gone up in value. That's a good thing. And somehow, that's a big word, somehow, swiper, you kept swiping instead of swiper, no swiping.
Yeah.
Credit card debt has arrived somehow that you haven't been able to pay off somehow by not having a budget, spending more than you make. This is usually a symptom of financial misbehavior. We use our results from good financial behavior, paying off the house, paying it on time, and we use that good financial behavior to attempt to solve our poor financial behavior. But when you use home equity to pay off credit cards, there's no guarantee you've changed your financial behavior. So now what has happened? The person has more house debt. They have home equity debt now. And the credit card balances, because we didn't change our behavior, they start showing up again because we kept doing what we were doing. And the person has taken an unsecured debt, the credit card debt, and now they've secured it with their house. That's a foolish thing to do.
Yeah.
And so provide a tip to them.
All right. So the tip for that one is live and operate on a budget for at least 6 months and prove to yourself that you have changed your financial behavior before ever making this type of decisions.
Right. So we're not saying it's a terrible decision always, but here's the thing. You can deduct a lot of times interest paid on a home equity loan, but for most people, they can't even do that because they don't even reach the new threshold, which is double what it used to be for the standard deduction. 88% of people used to itemize, which is where the Schedule A itemizing is where you could deduct home interest. So 88% of people can't even use that anymore. But watch this. You've got to prove to yourself that you're not going to get more debt on the credit cards. You not prove to Joe, not prove to Megan, not prove to anyone else. You just got to prove it yourself. Because I'm telling you, when you prove it to yourself, then you can have confidence. Hey, I'm making a good decision. It builds more margin in my monthly budget. It allows me to be able to pay off this debt at a much lower rate. Home equity line of interest is much lower than most credit cards. And I encourage you to do that. Prove to yourself. You're not proving it to me, no one else other than yourself, so that you know when you're making that decision, it's a healthy decision and it's not foolish.
Yeah. And we have a lot of episodes that we've done on budgeting and saving money and debt elimination. And if you go to our website on our show notes, scroll down to the bottom, there's related episodes. So you can click and listen to those. They'll be super helpful if you're in this situation.
That's another great tip.
Yeah.
All right. So foolish
number two. I hate that. Keeping credit cards one cannot control because closing the account will hurt the credit score.
Man, I've heard this so much. people are so fired up about their credit score. You know, the credit score has been so popularized, the Fair Isaac credit score, the FICO score, the Beacon score. Now with every credit card thing, people have their free credit score.
Right.
You can have Credit Karma, CreditSesame.com. They all have their version of the credit score, and people are so fired up about their credit score, or in a negative way sometimes. My credit's bad. How bad? I looked at it, and it reminded me of my GPA, right? It's a 2. No, it's pretty bad. And other people, they're like, I have an 800 credit score. Well, so do I, but it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than having a bad one. But watch this. Keeping credit cards you can't control simply because closing it will hurt your credit score is like keeping a rattlesnake near you because you value the life of the rattlesnake. It is going to bite you again and again until you die or until you remove yourself from its presence. And so think about that. Oh, look at the cute little rattlesnake. I've never said this. I'm just saying this. The cute little rattlesnake. Look at him. He's got pretty fangs. They're so pretty. And he's got the baby rattle. Look at it. Reach over here, baby, and rattle his tail. Isn't that cute?
They are deadly.
They're deadly. They're going to bite you. They're going to put venom in you. You're going to have lots of health issues. And you're going to have financial health issues if you keep the credit cards around.
Yep.
And so, listen. I know credit cards give you points. I know they give you miles. I know they give you cash back. I know all that. But I could not control credit cards. I was terrible with credit cards. TRBL, terrible. Charles Barkley, terrible. I think it's spelled TRBULL, terrible. And it was awful. And I kept them, and I needed them for emergencies, and I had a lot of emergencies, apparently. And finally, the day came. I'll never forget it. It's December 2nd, 2002. It was a life-altering moment for me. And I finally just had it because we had just went Christmas shopping, put a bunch of Christmas gifts on the credit card, and I already had a big balance. And I finally just said, that is it. I have had enough. And I just turned to my bride and said, we're not doing this anymore. This is a terrible feeling. I'm celebrating the birth of Jesus by going into debt. Think about how stupid that is. That's insane. And so I said, I'm going to shut these accounts off. I'm going to close them. Did you know that's harder than it sounds like? I called them. I chopped them up first, and then I called them. And I said, I would like to shut off my account. So one of these was Capital One. Capital One, how can I help you? My name is Joseph Samuel. Here's my account number, blah, blah, blah. I want to shut off my account. Well, why do you want to shut off your account? Well, because I keep using it and I can't control it, and you're charging me ridiculous interest, and I just need to get rid of it. And they're like, well, you've been an amazing customer. I'm like, I bet I have. I'm sure I have. And they said, now, if you shut this off, Mr. Sangle, it's going to affect your credit score. And I literally said to them, well, having it affects my bank account. And I realized that you could have a lot of money in your bank account. I didn't. But you can have a lot of money in your bank account, and it doesn't affect your credit score at all. Your credit score is not calculated based upon your bank account. It's based upon what type of credit you have. Is it revolving like a credit card or an installment where you're paying off like a house or a car? It's how much is your available credit total? And of that available credit, what percent of it have you utilized? How much is outstanding in debt? What is your payment timeliness like, right? And also, do you have any outstanding judgments against you? And how long has your relationship been with these creditors? So, of course, when you shut off a credit account, well, you eliminate an account you've had a duration with,
Right.
and you lower your available credit limit. So any credit you do have as a percent of your available credit is higher. And they were right. My credit score did go down. But let me tell you something. I'm going to be fired up. This is the fired up edition of the podcast.
It is.
The day I chopped it up, I thought I was chopping off my escape hatch. I was chopping off my lifeline. But I was actually chopping off my shackles. I was cutting myself free. And on that day, I realized that I had set myself free. I didn't realize it in the moment. I look back at it on today, many years later, 18 plus years later. I chopped off bondage. I chopped off my scapegoat. I chopped off my, this is the easy decision. The impulsive thing is just put it on the credit card. I want it. And I got to fire my wanter. And so I encourage you, it's going to bite you again and again and again and again. Is your credit card biting you again and again? Are you paying interest on your credit card every month? Then you are letting the rattlesnake bite you, and it's foolish. Don't do it.
Yep.
So here's the tip. Megan, help them.
All right. Our tip is to roll the balances over to a 0% interest balance transfer credit card and shut off the other accounts. So as we've talked about many times, we have links to the 0% credit card options that you can have. So include those. We've done an episode on the 0% balance transfer cards if you want to know more. We just did an episode on should you have a credit card? You know, everyone's doing it. Should I have one? That was a great episode. And so I feel like we'll link that one too. There's so many different resources if you feel like this foolish thing, number 2, is where I'm at. I need help. So, all right. Foolish number 3.
Yeah.
Payday and Pawnshop loans. Tip, don't do this.
There you go. That was fast. That's right. Payday and Pawnshop loans. The average interest rate charged is 5 to 25% per month.
Yeah.
So, look, don't do this. So I'll provide another tip. Find another way to sell the item.
Yeah.
If you need the money, don't go to Pawnshop. Don't go to Payday loans. Sell your stuff. Go get to eat. Go put it on eBay, Amazon, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. All come to mind as better options. And we do those all the time. And people are always looking for stuff. So if you have things you want to get rid of, sell them there. It takes minimal work. And the result is much easier money. And you don't pay interest on it.
Yep.
So foolish number 3, Payday and Pawnshop loans. Tip, don't do this. That's the highlight of the episode. All right, let's go to number 4.
Foolish number 4, financing negative equity into the next vehicle purchase.
Breaking news. Cars drop in value like a rock. You know, I have a truck that cost about $20,000+ when it was bought. It's a 1997. It's worth $4
It's
right
like
now.
an antique.
Yeah. So when a person finances negative equity, in other words, they owe more than it is worth, the car that they're getting rid of, so they want a new car. So they take the amount they already owe beyond the car and finance it in the next one. And listen, I know a couple of friends who did this multiple times. One of them's a friend you and I both know. And their finances were a train wreck. Here's something I find in common for anybody who's financing negative equity into the next vehicle. They all have finances that look like a train wreck.
Yep.
So don't do that.
Don't do it. All these, don't do it. All right, our tip for this one is drive the vehicle until the dash falls off. Then duct tape it back and keep driving it.
Yeah.
But seriously, cars are one of the biggest reasons people are strapped for cash. So also, what if next time maybe you look into the used car?
Yeah, maybe a 2 or 3-year-old used car.
Why not?
And watch this. You can drive an old car. I know you don't look cool.
Who cares?
I don't care about looking cool. I don't even care if my socks match.
I have 2 paid for cars.
And
I
some people
look
do
great.
care and all this stuff and whatever. But I will tell you right now, we drive very nice vehicles in my family. But I will tell you, there was a day I drove cars till the wheels fell off, till the dash fell off, used duct tape.
The one time it caught on fire.
And let me tell you something. It will help cement something inside of you that says, I'm doing this for a reason. And it will get your attention. It will get your spouse's attention if you're married. It will get your friends' attention. It will get everybody's attention. Why are you doing this? And it gives you a chance to share why. Because I have dreams. And these dreams are more important to me than how good my car is. And as a result, look, that 97 vehicle, that truck, it won't die. I'm serious. I barely touched the key. It starts. I drove it this week. I put the trailer behind it. I drive the tractor down the farm. I drove it to Lowe's and picked up a pile of lumber. My kids love to ride in it. We have a kid living with us right now, and I let her drive it, and she loves driving it. I'm serious. It's hilarious. Like, she was so sad when she had to stop driving it and drive a nice car.
Yeah.
And because she liked the truck better. And so the foolish thing is to keep buying a new car and rolling over negative equity. Don't do that.
Yeah. All right.
One more.
Foolish number 5, investing money that will be needed within the next 5 years.
Yes. So there's a difference. We interchange it. We try carefully here. I was broke, now I'm not to do it. But saving and investing are 2 different activities. Investing is putting money into some sort of investment, hoping it to grow and get a return. Saving is safekeeping. And so that's in the mattress, the drawer at the house, the safe, the jar 14 paces from the oak tree, right? Don't invest money that you need in the next 5 years. We recently went through a major market downturn due to the coronavirus. It's happened dozens of times for other things over the past century. The market will go down again in the future. And you risk losing value that you won't be able to recover in the short term. Look, no one saw coronavirus coming.
Yeah.
No one. We heard about it. Something in China.
Yeah.
No one thought it would be in the United States, decimating the world economy for the short term.
Right.
And so you can't risk. Listen, if you lose 40% of your money that you need for something right now, you will be crying. And I don't want you crying.
No crying.
And it could be avoided by not being foolish.
Yep. So our tip for that one is only invest money you know you won't be needing in the next 5 years.
There you go. And so we hope this is helpful to you on this couple days before April Fool's Day. Maybe you've waited until Wednesday and you're listening on April Fool's Day. And we do encourage you to be able to do that. And so I do want to tell you one thing. I do have to confess something, Megan. I financed my last car. I have car debt. Nah, April Fools. No, I didn't. See, I got you all, even the podcast listeners. April Fool's Day. All right, tell everybody the quote of the day. That was funny.
Right.
You should have seen her face. You can see it on YouTube.
I didn't believe you. All right, never argue with a fool. They will lower you to their level and then beat you with experience.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
I love that. Never argue with a fool. They will lower you to their level and then beat you with experience. That's funny. I found that on the internet. Couldn't find out who it was attributed to. Yeah. Hey, in our next episode, next Monday, we're going to talk about the power of 1%. We're going to be talking about how a slight shift in your focus can completely change the trajectory of your financial future and life. Listen, I say it all the time. You're one or two key financial decisions away from changing the trajectory of your life. We're going to talk about it in this episode. It's going to be revolutionary for so many people. You just might be one of them. You won't believe how easy it is to implement, so you don't want to miss it. Go ahead and put time on your calendar next Monday to listen so you can get started right away.
All right. And if you like today's episode, please help us get this podcast to others who could benefit. You could do this by quickly rating our podcast and leaving a review. And these ratings and review will help us make our podcast better for other listeners. And also, if you implemented one of our tips, make sure you share your success story with us by emailing it to info@iwbnin.com.
Hey, I'm fired up. I do encourage you, out of our right now relevant current money events, please, 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 write to your senator, write to your congressman, House of Representatives member, even write to the president. Make sure that you write about making sure that this debt gets addressed. We've got to get a balanced budget. We got to be able to have income minus outgo equals exactly zero. Listen, I feel the urgency because I know where this is headed. I want this for my kids. I want this for my grandkids. I want it for the future of our country. I think you do too. And so I encourage you, make your voice be heard. It's one of the great privileges you have as a citizen in the United States and most of the republics around the world. Make sure your voice counts. Get fired up. Have a great Monday.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.